Provincetown!
Good morning, everybody. Wake up.
Wake up, wake up.
In Provincetown. This week featuring
Wake up, wake up.
Can I have some coffee?
Wake up, wake up.
Make it strong, please. Hey. Ho. Hey.
Wake up, wake up.
Ho. No, really, can I have some coffee?
Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up.
Everyone, it's me. I'm back. It's Harrison. It's been like 4 months. I'm so happy to be co-hosting with Priscilla.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Priscilla Rojas. I am super fangirl of Wake Up in Provincetown. I just one day they said, if you want to come and watch us, cool. And then I just came.
And she hasn't missed an episode since.
No.
Yeah, you've seen her in all her pictures. She always jumps in the pictures with Xochitl.
Yeah, my dog who's out doing some business. But it's fun.
You have to cover all the Provincetown news because I haven't been here for 4 months.
It was a big weekend last weekend.
How was it?
Awesome. I felt like it was really the like spring alive, right? It's like Provincetown has sprung.
Yeah,
you know?
it was an adjustment for me because like I left when it was 25 degrees and there was 3 people in town and I came back. I'm like, oh my God, there's people here.
Yeah. So people were here, and the shows were amazing as always.
Which did you check out?
So I did the Easter brunch.
I heard Mark was fantastic.
There was
Easter
this Easter bunny, and it was unforgettable. Great, we're so blessed with so much talent.
Oh
here.
yeah, totally.
Jesus was there.
Who played Jesus?
That guy.
Giselle.
Yeah.
Giselle. That's very fitting. That's very fitting.
Yeah, Jesus was there. The egg was there.
That was Hillary, right?
Hillary is good. Like, she's really good at those like where she gets into the costume
and like frames her face and she's just like in the middle.
Yeah, that was super cute. Amazing makeup. She always has really great makeup. Her eye makeup is fierce.
Yeah, and I was so bummed. This is the first 420 show I've missed.
Yes, and then in the evening after I hung out with the bunny and Jesus, then I went to the 420 show, and that was it was very, very much unlike any of the other 420 shows that I've seen. Like it was very electronic, visual. You had these 3D glasses on.
No way.
Yeah, and so I am entering my Senora era. So like I could only do like half of it with it because I was like, oh my God, I got a headache, and maybe it's something that I took before the thing. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, this is like, but there was a fun intermission, and all the performers were amazing, and it was just everything was like bright neon.
Yeah, I'm bummed to have missed it because if there's one thing you can definitely count on for the 420 show, it is that it will level up from the year before. Every year, Mackenzie and the crew does better and better and better. So
this was about planets. So if you're into like planets,
yeah,
it was very planetary.
Did you go? They had an Astroglide after party at the Gifford House, correct?
Yes, they did.
Did you make it that long?
I did.
Oh, that's
I
understandable.
know. I'm in my Senora era, and I get tired.
I hear you.
And that is just like, it's time.
I hear. No, this past weekend I went out for like the first time in so long to like out at night, and it was like 12:15, and I was with 2 friends, and one of them was like, I think I might head out soon, and all of us were like, oh thank God, let's get out of here. Yeah. Oh,
So yeah, so it was really great.
I do want to mention this beautiful painting behind
Mention it.
us. It is by artist Jay McDermott, and he actually has a reception for his show at Tin Pan Alley tonight from 5 to 7. So stop by and check this out. You said this is the last in the series? So check it out from 5 to 7. They'll all be there hanging out. And I imagine the show will be up for the weekend. So if you don't get a chance, stop in anytime this weekend, grab an espresso martini and check out the rest of this beautiful artwork. Yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's been so long since I've been behind the desk. I feel like I'm like warming up again. Yeah.
It's my first time behind the desk, though.
You're doing great.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. But you're always on the other side.
I am. I'm on the other side.
Mhm.
I laugh at all the jokes. So I'll continue to do that.
But you're also involved in a few organizations around town, correct?
Well, around town, I'm more involved from an organizational perspective in Boston. But yeah, within me and my crew, I'm with the Frolic crew. So we won the Carnival Parade last year.
Was that 2 years in a row?
So it is our second. I mean, we've only been in it twice and we've won twice. Large float. I'm not, just a humble brag, right? But yeah. So this year we partnered up with Frolic, who we're going to have on the show a little bit later to talk about Frolic Weekend and all of the really great community building they've been doing. So yeah. So to the extent I'm kind of part of the Frolic crew.
Like you're part of the Wake Up crew.
I like crews. I'm very like group community oriented person.
That's very
and I just So yeah, and then in the city of Boston, I do some work with Lawyers for Civil Rights and a bunch of other Amplify Latinx, a lot of different Latino and civil rights organizations, and that are very much needed right now.
Oh, totally.
So happy to be part of the resistance.
Yeah, as we all are, all our viewers, everyone here, right?
Yeah.
So I was out of town for the last 3 months.
Yeah, where were you?
So I started off in Fort Lauderdale. I went with the Devil Wears Payless crew down to Fort Lauderdale. We did 6 weeks of shows down there. I think our last show was our 80th show. So we did 80 Devil Wears Payless shows. It was really fun. It was kind of a different audience than we're used to. But it was a really great audience. And the theater was very small, but it was kind of a new experience. Every time I get to work in a new theater, I get to kind of learn something new about how to engage an audience and how to. And after 80 shows, I feel like I've been acting on stage my whole life, but like doing 80 shows of a show where your goal is to make the audience laugh anytime you can. It's 80 shows of trying new things until it works. Yeah. And I feel like by the 80th show, I like really figured it out.
Yeah. I mean, practice makes
you try. Yeah, you don't get a laugh here. So the next time you try something different. And if you do get a laugh, you try it again. Sometimes it only worked that one time. Yeah. But it was a lot of fun. I really did love Fort Lauderdale. It was kind of like P-Town South a little. But so many people were like, oh, you're going to hate it. It's all strip malls. And as much as I get what they're saying, like it's not horrible. You know what I mean?
I grew up in the suburbs. The
Yeah,
strip malls are
exactly.
just a thing. It's actually really convenient.
Yeah.
Just go.
And the Wilton Manor Strip is like it's like a little road, like Commercial Street. I mean, it's not as
it's not Commercial Street.
Exactly. But I really loved it. I went to George's Alibi a lot, which is the same people that own Monkey Bar here in Provincetown. And that was a total scene. If you ever end up in Fort Lauderdale, make sure to check out Jen McLean's show. She does a Monday night show called Cast Party that we would go to a lot. I never got up and sang, but it's kind of like a everyone get up and sing kind of vibe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she also does a show called Diva on Demand on Saturday nights at George's Alibi, which is wild. It's like she knows every song and can just like whip it. I'm like, I can't do one song that I've been rehearsing for 2 months, and she can do every song that ever exists. But it was tons of fun. One thing I did get to do while I was down in Florida was I went to Miami to see an Unrivaled game. Have you heard of this?
I have not.
So Unrivaled is a brand new women's basketball league. It is a 3-on-3 league, and it was started by Nafisa Collier as well as Brianna Stewart, who are both ex-UConn players who now play in the WNBA. They are both kind of like the stars of the two teams that were in the WNBA finals. And their goal was to, so often, which we've seen in the news lately with Brittany Griner, which players play the WNBA and then to make more money throughout the year, they will travel abroad.
Yes.
Which puts, and most of the league is women of color. Most of the league is queer women. And to have them traveling the world is dangerous.
It is dangerous. Yeah.
So basically the two of them were like, let's create a league that can keep people in the States. It was all based out of Miami. All the games were in Miami, so they could stay put for a few months. Childcare was included. I think $250K was the average salary. The average salary in the WNBA is like $80K. And they really revolutionized something because it's the first time I've seen a women's league that wasn't like, let's take a men's league, slap a W in front of it, and just try to do the same thing. They really created something new and fresh that was for the women who play and for the fans that really love the WNBA. And what was so cool that is the arena they were playing in, I guess if you could even call it arena, only fits like 800 people.
Oh, okay.
So I got kind of the worst ticket you could get, and I was still like 10 feet away from the players.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool.
No, that's such a great concept.
Yeah, exactly.
Like of just being good people and paying people for what they're worth. And
Paige Beckers, who just got drafted into the WNBA, actually just signed a contract for $300,000 for her first year in Unrivaled, which is more than she will make over the next 5 years in the WNBA. But it was really cool. Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart also made the Time 100 this past year for their work in creating this league, and they were actually at the event last night. Yeah,
that's amazing.
It was really fun. I know I've been saying it for years on here, but if you haven't checked out a women's basketball game or women's sports in general, I feel like a lot of people don't like sports because they're used to the like toxic masculinity that comes along with it. And I took my friend Eden, who's in the Devil Wears Payless with me, and she was like, yeah, I guess she was excited to go, but I was really dragging her and convincing her. And by the end, she's like, I think I love women's sports. I'm like,
they're really great. So I used to be I used to be captain of the dance team. Yeah. So and in college, throughout college, and we danced at both men's basketball and women's basketball games. And the women's basketball games were by far my favorite. You know, like it felt like community. And yeah, everyone's there, and just the skill. And the skill and the precision by which like they play this game is fierce.
Yeah.
And so I shake my pom-poms for it and shake all the things for it because
speaking of women's basketball as well, the NCAA women's tournament, my team won. And decidedly so. So the UConn women who I've been following, I grew up about 15 minutes away from UConn's campus, so I've been following them since I was like 5 or 6, and they won this year in decided fashion. I think the average they beat the other teams by was like 36 points.
They're a powerhouse.
Yeah. Well, they weren't supposed to be that great going into the tournament, but I think they just like kind of hit their stride at the perfect time, and they really stomped on all the teams that were supposed to beat them.
Just like you hit your stride after 80 shows.
Exactly. Just at the right time. Exactly.
Well, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm excited to be back. It's good to, because I did get back for a few days and then left again, but I'm excited to be back and staying put for a bit. Get back into my routine. Another thing I did do while I was in Fort Lauderdale was I saw the other show that the producers of The Devil Wears Payless were doing another show called Puppetry of the Penis.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
I have not.
So it's a show that has been it was created in Australia and has
puppetry the penis. Say more.
It was created in Australia, has played around the world. The producer, Jamie, is in it in Vegas, and they were doing it in Fort Lauderdale. And I kind of was like, what? I was like, I don't know if I'm going to love this. And I went to see it, and it was really, really a fun watch.
Okay.
Shane, who lives here in Provincetown, came down to Fort Lauderdale to perform it. And I was so impressed by him and his co-star, because really it's two men standing on stage, butt naked, like really engaging with the audience to keep the energy up. And they did such an incredible job, and it was such a fun show. And I was actually really pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed it. Yeah, but it's coming to P-Town this summer.
Puppetry of the penis. So like, were there puppets involved? Like finger puppets, marionettes, puppets? No puppets.
It's more like manipulating yourself to look like things. But honestly, like I really thought the puppetry was going to be like the star of the show, and it was kind of more
about the penis.
No, it was more about the performance and the charisma and charm of the performers. And I was so impressed. They did such a good job.
Well, I can't wait for it to come.
Yeah, it'll be at the post
I'm like
office
a professional
this
audience
summer.
member here,
Right, exactly. What else did I get to? I just spent a week in San Francisco. It was my first time in the Bay Area, and it really shocked me how beautiful it was. I apparently got there right as everything was blooming, so like the whole city smelled like jasmine. I was like, this is the most magical place in the world. It was amazing. I did get to do a few really iconic San Francisco things. I think it's been 30 years, but every Easter Sunday they do a Hunky Jesus contest.
Did not know about that.
Yeah, and it's basically a bunch of people dress up as iterations of Jesus, get on stage. They have to perform a miracle on stage, which is up for interpretation. But who won was Cowboy Carter Jesus. He had a full bison that was disco balled.
Okay, not a real bison, but like a disco ball bison.
But it was full size. I was like, and all of a sudden it just like appeared on the stage. And I was like, how did they get that on the stage?
I feel like that should be in the carnival parade.
Oh, definitely.
Like we need to like get that thing.
Well, I think it was commissioned by. It's gonna be an installation. They commissioned the artist, and then he used it at Hunky Jesus before it got installed. I think his name was Wild West. Which I think is a really fun.
Wild West, you are invited to the Provincetown Carnival Parade if you would like to.
Yeah, there was also another one that I really liked. It was called Fuck Trump Jesus. Okay. And I would love to put the video I took of him on Wake Up, but unfortunately, I don't think it would be allowed on YouTube. I'll show everyone else later. And if you DM me on Instagram, I'll send it to you too. And third place was Jesus Crust.
Oh.
And
about pizzas or something?
Yeah, they had an entire crucifix that was made of bread.
Oh.
Yeah, it was crazy. They also do a Sexy Mary contest. And it was just, it was in Dolores Park, and it was just packed with people. Honey Mahogany was there, who is, she works in politics in San Francisco. The Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence were there, and it was just a really incredible way to spend Easter and 420 with an amazing group of people all having fun, raising money for the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, speaking up about the things happening in the world, and having fun.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Great. Go Sam Brown.
But y'all will be happy to know that Trevor and I really went to check on our friends Trevor and Sunny, who have moved out to the Bay Area in the past year.
I did not get that memo.
Yeah, Trevor's doing really good. His apartment's so cute. His cats are getting along in the apartment. Tim's doing great. Sunny's doing great. Yeah.
Yay.
Trevor took me around to all the sites. He took me across the Golden Gate Bridge, the art Palace of Art.
House of Fine Arts.
Yeah, that was crazy. One of the coolest things I've seen. But
did you go to Alcatraz?
No, we drove by it. Well, yeah.
Well,
we're like, there it is. It's over there.
I went once. I got some good
it?
pictures. I don't know. I went with me and my sorority sisters, my girlfriends, and we just had a really great photo shoot. Yeah. Like
one of the most fascinating things that I learned through trivia about Alcatraz is it was one of the only prisons that had hot water in it for the longest time. And the reason was because they were afraid if they only had cold water,
they would freeze or something.
No, the inmates would get used to the cold water and they'd be able to swim off the island. So they gave them hot water so they wouldn't be able to acclimate to the cold water and swim to escape.
They're reopening.
No,
they are not.
Stop it. Let's not start rumors.
No, because I get that they're like,
yeah.
I believe it, but
Already built. Might as well use it.
I also went to a club. Well, like I was saying, I was out till 1 a.m. I went to a club in San Francisco, and what was really cool was Princess. I mean, it was called Princess, and Susie Chute was there. And Susie Chute has a little bit of a connection to Provincetown. I know we've mentioned it in the past, but Jonathan Joseph Peters, as well as Jess, his business partner over at Dune, which is the shop right by Joe Coffee. The two of them designed and constructed a few different looks for Susie too on the season of Drag Race. And another connection, which I'm so blown away that Sam just figured out live on camera, but Devil Wears Playlist was in Fort Lauderdale this past couple months, and the year before they did Sharks Creek. Sam was in Sharks Creek here and didn't go down to Fort Lauderdale, so they cast locally and actually cast Susie too in it. So
I want to challenge Susie to a harmonica off.
word.
Yeah, you
I
were
love
fierce
that.
in that one.
Yeah.
I saw that one.
Yeah.
Twice.
But she was, I mean, the place was sold out, and just being the middle-aged man I was just like in the back with my one cocktail. I got a bunch of singles, like I was going to be in the front row, and then I'm like, who do I think I am trying to push these 22-year-olds out of the way to get to the front row?
Yeah,
It wouldn't
no,
be
I just
me.
kind of save them all, and then I just put them in the basket at the end. You know, it's just you give the dollar. I've given a lot of dollars. Just let someone else enjoy the dollars.
I always tell people in like a club drag scene, like being an audience member and tipping can be part of a performance.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want to be part of their performance, but
That bugs me. when
being an
people-
audience member is part of the whole thing. You have to feel the fantasy. I've seen some drag performers where if you really want to be critical, you could be, but why not? Why? Just
Yeah.
feel the fantasy, throw a
Feel the fantasy,
dollar.
leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
awesome.
Let's go over to a Dan Minahan video.
Okay.
Bob Geary hung out with the famed director Dan Minahan a few days ago to talk about his recent movie. Check it out.
Great.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fun.
I'm good. I feel like the last time we had you on this show was to talk about Halston.
Yes.
And so I'm actually kind of glad that we never had you on to talk about Fellow Travelers because I probably would have just cried the whole time.
Well, I hope this one kind of moves you in some way. Some people get horny when they see it, which was like the highest compliment.
You're not surprised by that, are you?
I think it's really different from Fellow Travelers. It's set in maybe 3 years later, but it's interesting how much, America changed in those 3 years. We kind of went from like Lavender Scare, Red Scare, and McCarthyism to, we're still in the Eisenhower era,
Mhm.
But we're about to go into the new frontier with the Kennedys, and it's different. People are questioning their lives, and people are, dropping out. This is the era of the beatniks. Have some beat kids in the film, you'll see, but it's very different.
Had you worked with any of these actors before? It's a really beautiful cast.
I have not worked with any of these actors before this film. I had admired Daisy Edgar Jones. She was my friend during lockdown, watching Normal People and
Oh, get out of here.
Ugly Crying.
Mhm.
That show. Jacob, of course, heartthrob from Euphoria. But when I met with him, we really saw something more. Like he really is. This is a two-hander. He's the lead opposite Daisy.
Mhm.
I don't think a lot of people have given him the opportunity to lead in a film. He's usually the antagonist or the bad boyfriend or, the object of desire. So he really stepped up. I was so impressed with him and loved working with him.
You're not going to make us wait another 25 years for your next movie, are you?
Well, I did make the Deadwood movie in between. We never talked about that, but that was for HBO. But I certainly hope not. It'll be like I'll be like a really old dude by that time. I enjoy working in series.
Mhm.
It's very gratifying for me, and I hope I can continue to do it. And but it's a different kind of storytelling. And when Peter Spears, the producer of Nomadland and Call Me by Your Name, approached me and said, wouldn't you like to make a film? I said, yeah, of course. It was during lockdown. I think I kind of, you were very introspective, and I was reading a lot, and I woke up one day and I was like, I feel like I've been doing everybody else's homework for the last 20 years.
Hmm.
I really spent time writing during that time, and I was kind of like trying to find my own voice again. And when Peter suggested that we do a movie together, I knew I wanted to do a love story, and so I was sending him things. There was one novel I sent him that was sort of like the romantic history of this guy from 10 years old till his 80s, and that was a little too big for a movie. I think that's probably more of a series, but we passed things back and forth, and really this novel, Shannon Pufal's novel, came to us both at the same time, and from our agents, and I was about a third of the way into it, and I was like, this is the most thrilling thing. And I called him up and I was like, I think this might be it. And he said, oh my God, I have that book too. And we finished the book, and we were so excited and felt really compelled to want to pursue this and adapt this into a film.
Well, I will definitely encourage everybody to come watch it with me. Am I gonna cry, or am I just gonna be horny? Or both?
I think it's a very sensitive story. It's a big old-fashioned love story, and that gets very complicated. And yeah, I hope people are moved by it. I think there's something very special about it, and we all put our hearts into it. And yeah, I think I think it may speak to you.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And I'm going to be in P-Town the first 2 weeks of May, and there's the Film Collective we're going to do on the 6th a kind of a Q&A,
Oh, nice.
and maybe even screen the film. So I hope people will attend that as well.
Awesome. That sounds fun.
Okay.
Good to see you always.
Good to see you. See you soon.
I'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you, Bob and Dan. That movie is playing at the Water's Edge Cinema all weekend, so be sure to check it out. Please welcome Chuck White and Karen Cappotto from Camp Provincetown. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks for letting us in.
Oh my God, always. So tell us a little about Camp Provincetown, how it came to be. You said it was about 15 years old.
Well, we started doing a collective shows around Provincetown about 15 years ago. And as it evolved in the summer of 2020, we decided that we wanted to do some sort of a festival, but then COVID hit. So the whole thing got blown off course. And Trevor, who you just visited, it actually happened in this building. We met with Trevor, and Trevor walked us into a EDC grant to build a website and to do social media. And thus born was Camp Provincetown outside this festival, first annual.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yay.
So the festival is going to take place in the first weekend in March. Tell us about
No, we're past March.
May.
Okay.
The other M month.
May. Okay.
First weekend in May. So tell us a little about what we can expect from the festival.
Well, opening night will be at the Commons, May 8th. We're kicking it off with a collage show that's going to have it happening on the front lawn. We're taking part of Steinway in memory of Al Hansen and all that stuff. Chuck knows all the historic details. I just know what's going to happen. And then over 50 artists have been asking to be part of it. So I'm really excited. I'm going to be curating it with James Ryan.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, it really is amazing. I can't wait to see all the pieces that show up. They're arriving daily. And it's how we're going to kick it off. So it's 7 to 10. And then I think afterwards, I think everyone's going over to the Gifford, I think.
Oh, awesome.
Yes. I have the schedule.
At the Gifted, we
We
lost
all end up at the Gifford.
and we lost her, but we got her back. Hope, who's Jess Tepper, who's in Dump Betty, which is a great performance art band. Her new solo record, she's going to be doing the record release party on the porch bar after the after party from the happening at the Gifford. And then on Friday, we go to Water's Edge. We're doing a deconstruction of Reds, the movie, and also with Cold Storage, which is a film.
Local films here about local people. Yep.
After that, we go over to Spiritus to celebrate the photography of Mike Cola. From after that, we go to the Gifford again to do a reading of Jackie Curtis's Vain Victory with the original musicians and a whole bunch of fun people from Provincetown doing that theater piece at the Gifford, and then the after party with the grand opening of Purgatory for the summer with Emerson, DJ Emerson. On Saturday, we go over to Falk with Jay Critchley to do the Harry Kemp Symposium, followed by the tour of Ronnie Hazel's house at Shop Therapy, then over to Town Hall for the fashion show with Steve from Wardrobe and Maureen from the Vintage Store on the Wharf. And the grand finale is Billy Huff kicks off the 20th anniversary of Stream Along with Billy, recreating the Velvet Underground at Town Hall. And then the last thing on Sunday morning is a auction with Joey Mars. Joey Mars, who did the front of Shop Therapy, his vintage work has taken off and he's become a phenomenon in the vintage world. So he's actually going to host our auction, which is a combination of all different people who've been a part of the collective of Camp Provincetown all these years.
Wow, that's amazing. You're gonna be up and down, like you're gonna get all those steps in, like
Jam packed.
It's such an impressive like collection of what Provincetown is. It feels like you hit all the spots. You got all the iconic Provincetown artists to come out. It's really incredible.
It's all Chuck.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not, because there's so many people that are so involved with it. I mean, I was thinking about the summer of 2020 when we first were plotting it. Even Siobhan from South, she kept us alive that summer. She met us that summer. We would have the whole idea going. And I was just thinking of all the people that have been involved.
Yeah, and
like Sam Smiley.
Saltine started on the beach.
Yeah, Cody
on
started on the
Wednesday.
beach, and,
Right.
and Brent with Ian Hutchinson.
Mhm.
There's just, I mean, when you go through it, Ronnie Hazel's been important. I mean, Jay Critchley. Without Jay Critchley, none of this could have happened.
We had our own magazine.
Yeah, we had our own magazine and stuff. It's just, there's so many characters and so many great people.
If there were any local artists that wanted to get involved with Camp Provincetown, how would they go about doing that?
It's kind of happened organically,
Yeah.
you know. We just keep on collecting more people. But then, I mean, to say hi we've done most of the magic of Provincetown is that we've been out like, oh my God, we need to get something done, and we'd walk out and it'd be raining out. One person would walk out the alley at 8 o'clock at night. The only person like us, and that's the person we were looking for. You know?
He done magic.
So that's how Camp Provincetown's been evolving, and people, it really has been a natural, organic evolution.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for putting on this festival. You can go to campprovincetown.com to get the full schedule. Are any of the events ticketed or?
It's
Oh, that, yeah.
well,
Yeah.
there's a $99
$99.
gives you a VIP that takes you everywhere.
Oh, perfect.
If you just want to go to individual events, like for instance, Town Hall is a $25 ticket at the door, or you can get it online as well.
Awesome. Yeah, so go to campprovincetown.com, get a weekend pass. It's kind of like a weekend, like just like intensive of Provincetown art, it feels.
Yeah,
You get
yeah,
everything
it's a
up.
showcase, yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
and you'll get your steps in.
Exactly. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Um, Speaking of Brent, let's head over to Lucinda with the traffic.
Ma'am, what are you doing there?
Oh, sorry. I thought you took donations here, so I have some recycling.
Oh, we can recycle those. And also, you cannot just leave stuff, you know?
I can see why. If I'm not gonna sit on it, no one is. Anyways, what
Where
do you
you
do
going?
here? I'm going in. What do you do here?
Oh, we sell donated items and the funds are used to support the church and the local non-profits.
Oh, there's people not making profit in Provincetown? Ooh.
We donate to the helping our women.
Oh, you
and-
like to help women? Fine, I'm just gonna take this. What else? I love that you love to help women. That's not fair.
Ma'am, would you like to look at our clothing selection as well?
What's wrong with what I'm wearing?
Nothing, we just have a really nice...
Wait, is Peter here? I hear he manages the place. You're really rude. You need to be fired.
Well, most of our are actually volunteers here, so, you know.
Well, Christ volunteered, and now his house is filled with trash. This is really expensive.
Well, It retailed for $75 and right now it's only $10.
Oh, I see. Inflation is bad everywhere.
Ma'am.
Well, listen, maybe it's expensive because some dead lady wore it and her scent is still on it, and I can use this to seduce her rich husband who is also on his deathbed. Is that what we're doing here? Wow, you have a food court here? Almost as nice as the Hyannis Mall.
Actually, that's the soup kitchen. Weekdays, November through April, 12:30 until 1:30.
What am I supposed to do May through October? Get a job? My goodness. What's this?
Actually, that's our vegetarian option they were serving for lunch today.
I might as well take it. In order to buy something at this store, I need to save money somehow. Well, thanks for the new puzzle.
Ma'am, actually, you didn't really pay for it.
This art is in pieces that I will literally have to put together myself, and you're gonna make me pay for that.
You're in pieces and people pay to see you?
Thank you for reminding everyone that my comedy walking tour of Provincetown is available now. Thank you so much.
Well, but you have to pay.
Lucinda for that tour of the Methodist. Please welcome Camillo.
I'm just throwing stuff.
Camillo is a member of Frolic, which is the Men of Color weekend here in Provincetown in June. Is it year 4 now?
Oh my, of Frolic weekend?
Yeah.
This is going to be our 6th
Yeah.
time putting it together.
Mhm.
Yeah, just insane.
Yeah.
It's gonna be my 3rd time personally.
Okay.
which I'm really excited about.
One thing I've definitely noticed about Frolic Weekend is it grows every year. And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. What can we expect from this year?
Oh my God, so much. This year we're adding a day, so it's gonna be 6 days of programming.
So really long
Frolic
weekend.
Really long.
Long weekend.
It's Frolic Week at this point.
Yeah, I mean, basically. And we're excited to bring a lot of new programs. We're going to do our first ever boat cruise. We're also doing a mini film festival as well, featuring some queer artists of color. We're going to be working with Radiance Art Gallery, the first Black-owned gallery in P-Town, to do some cute little workshops. What else? We also have this really cool panel series called Debunking. We're going to cover sex work, kinks and fetishes, non-monogamy. So there's going to be a lot of really fun conversations happening, a lot of new connections.
You're really doing it all.
Let's talk about it. And then the parties, the DJs,
Yeah,
DJ. VP of programming or whatever, but like also like VP of like booty
Of
shaking.
course. One thing about Frolic Weekend is that we love a party.
Mhm.
And we love a theme. So the theme this year is going to be camp because the girls
fun.
want camp this year.
Mhm.
So we're serving camp, and camp for us is going to stand for community, adventure, magic, and purpose.
Oh, amazing.
Each of those is going to be assigned to a house.
Oh.
So that we have a house quiz as well, which is new this year. And
Okay.
people
Like
can-
Harry Potter kind of house,
Oh,
or just
kind
like
of,
or
yeah.
like pose like
so you
house.
take a little quiz and you get sorted into one of the houses.
Oh, that's
Oh, that's
amazing.
so cool.
And then-
Okay, sorry.
Yes, we can. And then after you're sorted, you have your house color, and some of the parties it's like you wear your house color to them, so
Oh,
everybody
that's
kind of like
really
knows like, oh, you have these like affinities.
Frolic this past year kind of took to the world, right?
Yes.
How did
we're
that
going
go?
global a little
Yeah.
bit. It's been really great. It's new for us, so we're planning to be part of UK Black Pride this year. It's going to be their 20th anniversary in August, which is insane. And then we're also planning some exciting travel opportunities. We are working to get a group together to go to Brazil for New Year's. There's a lot of cool stuff cooking up. And the other great thing is that during Frolic Weekend, folks are coming in from all over the world, we realized. And it's been, so it's, we're ready.
Yeah, I mean,
The people
absolutely. The first Frolic what I remember was I mean, maybe I don't know what the actual numbers were, right? But we're talking like a good 50 people, maybe
first
the
one?
first
Yeah, like
one,
50
right?
maybe.
Like, and it was like, and now like we're up to
We're expecting 1,000 this year.
expecting 1,000.
About,
Last year
give or
was-
take.
Yeah,
Give or take.
yeah.
Crazy.
And from all over the place. Tell them about how you go to the different places
Yeah.
and like promote and get people from all over the country.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We had our last Frolic tour this past fall. We hit a bunch of different cities along the East Coast. We went to Chicago and Texas. We went to LA. And so it's been really Atlanta, of course. So we do stuff in Atlanta regularly. So of course. And it was amazing to see all these different communities, all these different cities. They all have their own like unique qualities, but they all are interested in the same mission of like building community and coming together. So it's really, I'm really excited to see everyone that I met on the tour this year.
Totally.
At Frolic Weekend, yeah.
One thing that I love about Frolic Weekend is so many events in town kind of rest on their laurels when it comes to inclusion and diversity. People were like, oh, it's this week or this week, it's diverse because it's supporting this marginalized group. But what I think is incredible about Frolic is you guys kind of never stop trying to expand. Even though it is a weekend for men of color, they're like, but how can we get a more diverse group of men of color? How can we encourage trans men of color to come? It's like y'all never stop working and thinking about how to expand and be more diverse and more inclusive and more welcoming. So I think that's incredible.
Yeah, thank you for highlighting that intention. We've definitely been doing our best to bring in more trans men of color. This year we're doing a pop fusion party to highlight K-pop, J-pop, all these other genres that we don't usually hear while at these kinds of parties. So yeah, it's been really exciting. I'm really looking forward to the lineup this year.
And is it this year or last year? Because I think one of the years you partnered with Trans Tape to cover the cost of some trans men of color coming to Frolic Weekend.
Yeah, we did that last year. Yeah,
sure. That's so cool. Awesome. Well, it's one of my favorite weekends of the year. I'm really looking forward to it. And thanks for all the work.
Yeah. And where do we find Frolic?
Yes, great question.
What are the handles?
So we have wearefrolic.com, has all the information about everything we do around the world. We also have Instagram at wearefrolic and at Frolic Weekend. So make sure to follow those because we're constantly updating it with new events and information about the weekend. So yeah. It's going to be June 18th to the 23rd. I didn't say that already.
Yes.
But yeah.
And we have a Juneteenth celebration as well.
Yes. We have Juneteenth, and it's right after the film festival. So it ends on the 15th.
Do you live in Provincetown full time now?
I don't, not yet.
You don't. Okay. I just see you all the time, so I assume.
He stays at TT's house.
Oh, perfect.
I'm an honorary townie.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We'll see you in June. Let's head over to the roundup with Sam and find out everything we've got going on this weekend for the wrap up of Lesbian Visibility Week.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Wake Up Weekly Roundup with me, Sam Sewell, for the week of April 25th through May 1st. Almost May, everyone. 2025 is chugging along. And speaking of today, on Friday, starting at 10 a.m., the Moby Dick Reading Marathon is happening at the Provincetown Public Library. You can check out all the information at provincetownlibrary.org, but go get in on this amazing Provincetown tradition. Also, there's a membership drive going on for the Provincetown Film Society now through May 9th. You can get discounted tickets on showings at Water's Edge Cinema and early access to screenings, so go check them out at ptownfilm.org. Also, Provincetown Lesbian Visibility Week is still chugging along, and today we have front stoop feminist readings over at Women Crafts at 5:30 p.m., followed by Pillow Princesses with Emily Alcott and Marissa Miller at 7 p.m. at the Crown and Anchor, and then the Shiano Bar will happen today and on the 26th at 9 p.m. at the Crown and Anchor. But today we're going to have Les Dance with DJ KT at the Underground. Tomorrow, Saturday, brings us Kickball at 11 a.m. on Jerome Smith Field, followed by Lesbo Bingo at 2 p.m. with Kristen Becker and KT. And then there will be a special showing of Jewel, A Just Vision over at the Radiance Art Gallery at 4:30 p.m. And at the Crown and Anchor, Star-Crossed is happening, and you can sign up at onlyatthecrown.com for tickets and to be a contestant. Like I said, also following that, Shiano Bar is happening at 9 p.m. at Crown and Anchor, and then I will be DJing the Dapper Dan Dance. Dress to impress. Bring a mustache. Bring a vest. Come on. That'll be at the Underground at 10 p.m. on Saturday. Sunday, the Provincetown Film Society is showing The Watermelon Woman for their kickoff for Sapphic Sundays. They will be showing it at 11 a.m. with breakfast bites at 10 a.m. And on Wednesday the 30th, you can join Carrie Davidson in discovering your true nature and transforming your life and relationships. This is at the Commons at 5 p.m. with an assistance from the Provincetown Business Guild. And on Thursday, over at the Water's Edge Cinema, they will be showing An American in Paris as part of their film art series, 7 p.m. with pre- and post-show talks by Howard Karen. Upcoming, get your tickets for Something Rotten, happening May 9th and 10th over at the Provincetown IB School. And also, put it on your calendar, you'll have 4 times to catch this, but the first time of this reading special will happen on May 19th over at the Public Library. I am participating along with a very colorful cast of people. Stay tuned for more information on that. And as always, if you have something to promote, please email me at wakeuproundup@gmail.com. Thank you so much and have an awesome, awesome Lesbian Visibility Weekend, everyone.
Thank you so much, Sam, for the weekly roundup. Be sure to check out, Sam is in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe it's Harwich, correct? Harwich. It's the last weekend. It's been running for 2 weekends. I've heard it's amazing. So be sure to make it down and check it out for her last weekend. You're playing the Fawn.
Mr. Tumnus.
Mr. Tumnus. I haven't read the book. I'm sorry.
Well, I have a picture.
Please welcome Robert Sweetman and also Mike Chute to Wake Up. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So y'all are working on a really incredible project. It is a gravestone cleanup project here in Provincetown. Tell us a little about it.
Yeah, I think it's evolved over the last few years. You know, there was a person several years ago that, you know, cleaned several himself and put some YouTube videos. And I sort of said to myself, well, I could learn that. And a couple of years ago, I would do that as sort of a morning meditation and clean a couple a day, a few days a week.
Yeah.
And got through 70 or so. And then I went to a restoration project, a workshop that Wellfleet had sponsored. And, you know, there was someone there putting stones together and, you know, appropriate type of compounds to use for historical context. And that's above my pay grade. And
I hear you.
You know, and we would have restorations to pay for that. But I'm thinking, you know, the cleaning we can do ourselves. And if you pay someone to do that, it's like over $100, $150. You know, we've done this in the past using community preservation fund acts. And I'm like, let's try that. And then one of our commissioners, we have a great commission now, it suggested, like, could we have a community day, right? And my mind immediately went to, like, what could go wrong, right? We could be breaking stones, we could be doing that sort of stuff like that. And we said, well, let's give it a try. And there's just do's and don'ts of things you can't use for the stones and what you're cleaning with, but that's pretty easy. And so we did their first one last fall. And, you know, Mike talked a little bit about, you know, how that went.
How'd it go?
It went great. The turnout was better than expected. It was ended up being a beautiful day. And you get a chance to talk to people and learn why they showed up. Like, I didn't realize, we were talking outside, like how much the cemetery, like cutting through it, even as a kid in here, like wandering around. And for me, I was like, I joined the cemetery commission to kind of push green burials a little bit. I was really interested in that. And so we went to this cleaning for the day, and all of a sudden I started realizing how intriguing it was, and listening and talking to the people. Like, my family's been in Provincetown forever. I'm like 5th generation here. And I wondered, these people hang out with my family. And so then you start to like think about that. And Rob had told us a story about he talked with someone that he goes to cemeteries, he passes through. He's like, I wonder if anyone said that person's name for 100+ years. So there's all these stories about these people. And this is just an opportunity to give them a little honor, make the cemetery look wonderful. I mean, the stones we cleaned this past fall, you drive by, they stand out. They look not brand new, but like so bright and vibrant. It really brings this kind of new sense of excitement back to the cemetery. And also, we're going to give you some lunch. It's really simple. It's not backbreaking work. It's fun time. I mean, it's supposed to be fun. People
It was good. You know, people worked in groups of 2, and we have all the supplies there. We'll teach everybody how to sort of do it. And you know, then it's so easy to like find the history and connect you to the town and invest you in some sort of way. It takes years for the soot and grime and sometimes overgrowth of plant materials to build up. And so when you clean it, it really lasts a long sort of time. And then, you know, you could find somebody and just like, you know, a couple of folks that I cleaned last year, one was one of the original owners of the pier and see where he was and how that got to McMillan Pier. And then another person was in the Spanish-American War, and one of those ships was on the harbor here, and he was in a boat coming to get mail for the people, and a gale popped up.
Oh.
And he died. His rowboat capsized, and he's there, and his name was Klaus Wessel, and I cleaned his grave, and I'm thinking probably nobody else is going to do this, right? And then a little Googling, I actually could see a photograph of his funeral procession, which is at that time is like a line of rowboats coming into the town.
Wow.
And you just sort of think, oh my goodness, right? And so this is what we're trying to sort of see if we can sort of multiply the effect. We're hoping to get like 4 or 5 of them during this sort of season. So if you can't make this one, the first one's going to be Friday, May 9th, and ask for about 3 hours, and we clean for a couple hours. We have lunch and talk about the stones and one of the things I like to get from it is uncovering people's names. Sometimes the names are gone, or they're epitaphs, and then one of the ones I discovered this last time was, because people spend so much time thinking about what to engrave on the stones, and then you can't sort of read it,
right?
And one was when we live in the hearts of those who left behind, it's like not dying, and you just think, oh my gosh, someone perseverated for weeks probably on what to put on that stone. And then, a little time for me and elbow grease, and there it is.
Oh my God, thank you so much for doing that. I'm
Yeah.
so like, this is so beautiful. But we all kind of, are a part of a cycle, and the energy, I believe, is still, here. And so to activate that energy, it's just amazing. Thank you for doing
And we want
that.
people involved, because this also is honoring the past,
Yeah.
but we're also trying to move forward in the future.
Yeah.
The Cemetery Commission is doing a lot of fun stuff. I say fun, but it's talking about death. Like other options. There's other things to do. You don't have to be a body in a ground bomb. We can do green burials. We can do other things. There's other options out there, and we're kind of like, let's talk about it. Let's have this conversation, and let's do a little honoring of the people out there. And I'd love to talk about it. So this is my cheap plug. We're always out on the flats, Mermaid Venue Farm. I'm the chief lifter of heavy things out there. I'd love to talk about the cemeteries. I could sit here all day. So if you ever want to come out on the farm and hang out and enjoy the tide and work with us, check out our oyster farm. And I'd love to talk more about cemeteries, different types of burials.
When you say green burials, what
does that mean?
What could that mean?
So a burial traditionally in the past has been like a concrete vault with an embalmed body that goes in there, and it occupies the space of the vault. Green burials are an opportunity to have no embalming, no cement slabs. So you're literally, as you say, man, you are dust, unto dust you shall return. It's the most natural way to go back to the earth. And it's giving people an opportunity. I worked in hazardous materials with my wife for years, and we started talking like, we've spent 20 years of her life taking these out at hazardous waste collections and taking these chemicals away. And the last thing they're going to do with my body is pump me full of chemicals to then leach into someone's drinking water later. And so I really thought, like, well, the cemetery has an opening, and that's something I think I'd like to see in this town. And Rob came on, and all of a sudden, after a few years, it took a lot of work, but we have that option now. And there's burials at sea. There's in other cultures, there's different ways to, I hate to say it, dispose of the dead. And I'd love to continue exploring that. I think since Rob's taken on the chair, he's really opened that up. We've had other commissions join us, look at the research we're doing, talk about these different avenues, because to best of my knowledge, no one's gotten out alive yet. So you deal with it eventually.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. And I think that, in terms of alternate methods of this, there's bills within the legislature, and Senator Sear is on the public health committee looking at different types of cremation, which is more environmentally friendly, as well as composting. It's legal in some states, not in Massachusetts yet, but so it's just it's exciting sort of thing. I think that I love sort of sprucing up the cemetery, and the work we do will last 5-10 years of the spruce up, so it doesn't have to be done.
Are you doing both cemeteries?
Yeah.
Or are there more than 2?
Yeah, there's Winthrop, and then there's the whole main Provincetown Cemetery, which has little sections called Gifford and Hamilton and Old Alden and Alden Street.
We won't run out of work if you want to come help.
Gotcha.
How do we do? I mean, I want to do it.
Right. So we'll be putting stuff on social media to sort of how to do that. But the way to sort of do that is really to email. It'll say the email the town clerk. They're our support within the administration. So, and they'll take your name and email address, and then you'll be hearing from me as we go launch this out. And for future ones, if you can't make this one on May 9th, do another one later on. The one of the things we spray on it is an enzymatic reaction, so it has to be above 50. So we like to, so it's why we have this sort of spring to. I was asking Mike with our cold spring of like, are you sure we're going to be able to do it on May 9th? But now I'm optimistic that we'll be that. So we hope to sort of see people there, and we appreciate you reaching out to us about this.
Thank you for coming on and chatting about it. It's really, really cool work, especially in a community like Provincetown.
Yeah.
There's so much history.
And I was never a history buff, right? Like,
Now you
but I
are.
am now, right? So I would sort of say that to someone says, oh, I hated history when I was in high school. So did I. But like, to be able to pull out this stuff so easily and so readily, and then thinking there's probably nobody left of this person's family. He's 150 years old. And like this guy, Vincent, that came by, he said, I love historic cemeteries, just to reemphasize. He said, I always say their name because I think maybe no one said their name in 100 years or 200 years. And you think, wow, that is powerful. So I'm incorporating that into my routine now. It's really great.
And also it leaves a lot to the imagination. And I'm a thinker. I like to be out there. And when I'm on the farm, I'm doing stuff. It's not everything that I read on the stone. It's what happened to that little dash. And it leaves you to wonder, like, what was going on here 100 years ago? Some of these stones are a couple hundred years old, so it's really an opportunity to like take a few minutes, relax, clean a stone, make it look pretty. And then I call it taking a little vacation in your own head. What was this person doing? Were they a fisherman? Were they the cobbler in town? So there's just that opportunity.
You'll see people who lost their lives when they were 20 or fishermen that were like 80, but then lost their 2 sons at sea earlier on. And you're thinking, it brings you back to like how difficult it was, right? Back then. And so it connects me. I hope it connect people too.
I can't wait till May 9th.
She's in. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys for having us. Have a great rest of your day.
Let's head over to Sean with the weather.
Good morning, Provincetown. I'm soaking up my last few days in Colorado before heading back your way for another incredible summer season. And yes, I'm counting down the hours. Earlier this week, I made a quick stop to Tucson to visit my granny, always a highlight, then zipped over to Palm Springs to check out musical bingo at the Tool Shed. Why? Because we're bringing the magic to the boat slip starting Memorial Day Monday. I'll be hosting the hottest bingo night in town every Monday, so get ready to shout bingo with your favorite hits and one of Andrew's signature cocktails. More on that soon. But first, let's talk weather in P-Town. Today kicks off with a mix of sun and clouds and breezy conditions with a high around 53 and gusts out of the northwest reaching 20 knots, so maybe skip the hat unless it's tight on your head. Saturday brings morning rain and a chance of thunderstorm tapering off to scattered showers by the afternoon with gusty winds at a high near 56. Sunday stays unsettled with variable clouds and the possibility of a passing shower or two, highs near 54, and a breeze that just won't quit. Monday turns the corner with sunny skies and a warm up to 62, and Tuesday builds on that with increasing clouds and highs around 64. But by Wednesday, we're looking at a mix of sun and clouds, mild breezes, and highs pushing a delightful 68. Spring is finally starting to show signs of summer. And speaking of summer, we are officially 1 week out from first tea dance of the season, and you can get yourself ready with a visit to our friends at T&T, Test and Treat at Outer Cape Health. Jamie, Lakia, and Jeff are standing by to get you summer ready with a quick and easy check-in. Call them at 774-538-3350 to schedule your appointment. I was just there recently. It's fast, friendly, and fabulous. Get prepared to pep up your summer And so give them a ring. 774-538-3350. You can't go wrong with those guys. Everyone have a fantastic weekend. For those of you in town, I'll see you very soon. Guys, back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much, Sean. Please welcome William from the Provincetown Independent. Your third time on the show.
Third time.
Awesome. Thanks for coming back.
I'm happy to be here.
Of course. I see you on the byline all the time. You're working on so many different stories.
Yeah, there's always a range of my sort of beat is science, and there's always different science stuff going on.
You know, I love recycling and composting. I loved your recent article about recycling on the Outer Cape.
Thank you. Yeah.
I took away from it that Provincetown could do better.
That might be the take. It's complicated. It's complicated because you guys have like garbage trucks that like pick up recycling, which you know Wellfleet and Truro and Eastham don't.
They don't?
No, we all just drive our drive. Well, there's a company that, at least this is Wellfleet speaking.
Yeah.
But like there's a company that you can hire to pick up your trash, but for recycling you have to drive to the transfer station.
Really?
And it, although I will say, it leads to a really interesting like culture. Like the transfer station is like a community space.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Like you can go to the swap shop. You can you run into your neighbors there. There's always something interesting happening.
They have a composting bin there that I learned about on Wake Up in Provincetown. So I have used that. I'm a big composter. Yeah. No, I make my own dirt.
Me too.
So I love it.
You had something really exciting happen with one of your articles. I was about shark fishing.
Yes. So this was interesting.
Explain to me shark fishing.
Okay,
I don't.
Is that a thing? Like it's just like a pole? Like it just seems a little bit wrong.
It's a little wild. So let me. So I'll back up a little bit and say that like shark fishing, at least until recently, was not illegal in the state of Massachusetts. You could legally fish for sharks from shore. You could take a pole and a rod and reel, cast a line out, and if you caught a shark, in general, that was fine. Great white sharks are not legal to fish for in the entire country. Like it's like a NOAA regulation.
Okay.
So the problem is that if you cast a line out into the ocean, you don't have any control over what
bites
biting that, right? So the problem is if you are going out to fish for sharks, that's not technically illegal. Going out to fish for great white sharks is illegal. How do you tell the difference?
Right.
So that's sort of where things stand. And there are a lot of people who fish for sharks. Some places, it's like a cultural thing. My understanding is that like Martha's Vineyard has like a long history of blue shark fishing, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, where there's like a blue shark fishing weekend there. So this might be historical. I'm not sure if it's still ongoing, but
is there a purpose? Do they eat them?
It's just for fun.
Killing things for fun.
Well, I don't think they necessarily kill them. Whether they survive after they let them go is a different question.
Right.
Because they're big animals, and it might take a long time to haul that into shore, so that could really tire. So big question there. But a lot of people do it because it's exciting, and even more people do it because it looks good on social media. So there's this sort of cottage industry of people who are extreme anglers. That's a big thing, and so that's sort of where things stood in September of last year when here is what all parties agreed to happen. It was LeCount Hollow Beach in Wellfleet before sunrise. A trio of fishermen were down there fishing with massive rod reel things. The fishermen all admit that they were fishing for sharks. They all say they were not fishing for great white sharks. They were fishing using, what they would do is they would take the heads of bluefish, like chum, or not chum, but like bait, hook them, and then attach them to a drone and send the drone 100 yards offshore. Drop it. And so then it was just sitting way out in the lawn, right? Out in the surf. Then surfers showed up because it was a beautiful Saturday in September. It's peak surfing time because all the tourists are gone. And so fishermen were there, and then the surfers started arriving. And then things kind of started escalating. They're because they're also dropping one of them posted an
they're chumming the water, basically.
So yeah, they say they weren't chumming the water. The surfers say they are chumming the water. And typically they weren't literally chumming the water.
Right.
They were putting large pieces of fish on hooks out in the water. That is undebatable. And what happened was they kept dropping their lines while the surfers were still there. And because they were putting it so far, it was beyond the surf break. So one surfer actually ended up surfing into one of the lines and getting clotheslined. The surfer was that's they shouldn't have the line out there. One of the fishermen told me that he thinks the surfer surfed into it intentionally to make a point. Look, I can't say anyone's intent, but ultimately this led to escalation. At least 2 different surfers came up to the fishermen and were like, "Hey, please, could you not, or like, could you move, like," because they're right at the parking lot too. One of the things I learned when I spoke to some other experts in this sort of in the whole world of shark fishing is that most shark fishermen do it at night and far from other people, because even if it is legal, it's still like a little bit broadly frowned upon, I would say. In like
I'm frowning.
And so it was unusual for shark fishermen to be doing it in the morning at the parking lot. So what happened was ultimately this led to the surfers calling the cops. And I don't know which happened first, but either the cops came first or a great white shark appeared. The surfers all got out of the water.
Right.
The fishermen, of course, claimed they had nothing to do with it. One told me that it was chasing a seal. The surfers claim that it was brought in by their bait.
Right.
Who knows the intentions of a great white shark? And so the cops were called. They called the Mass Environmental Police and the park police, because this was on parkland. So ultimately they talked to the surfer, the fishermen. They checked the fishing license. They had a fishing license, and the fishermen said that they were fishing for skates and the legal species of shark, which include thresher sharks. And there's one other one that I'm forgetting the names of. There's a lot of other shark species you can't fish for, but that's beside the point. I think duskies are legal anyway. And ultimately they were like, go on. The surf community was really mad about this, and that's how I heard about this. And so I did a little write-up on what happened on this, what I sort of just told you. Ultimately, this write-up reached the Division of Marine Fisheries. And one of the—
Is that a state organization?
State organization,
Okay.
yeah. And one of the things that I talked to 2 different shark experts, Greg Scomo, who's with the state, and Megan Winton, who's at Atlantic White Shark Conservancy. And what they both said is, well, Greg had this quote where he was like, in my 37 years researching sharks on the Outer Cape, I have only ever seen great white sharks in the shallows.
Oh.
And Megan Winton said, anyone who is fishing for sharks from the National Seashore is fishing for white sharks, whether they admit it or not. Those are their words, not mine. And they make that very clear. So this sort of reached the Division of Marine Fisheries, and they started working on new legislation. And the legislation ultimately, just what they did is they were like, okay, we're not going to ban shark fishing in general because you do have these historic blue shark fisheries and stuff in Martha's Vineyard. But what they did is they banned shark fishing, which is defined as like using the type of reel you would only ever use, like a massive gear. Ban it in areas where the only sharks around typically are white sharks.
Oh, cool.
And so that legislation passed like a month ago. And they also banned the use of drones to do what they were doing with dropping stuff.
That seems crazy.
It's something. And ultimately, the regulation passed at the end of March, and the shark fishermen, I spoke to one of them, was not too happy about the legislation. They all maintain their innocence, that they were not fishing for white sharks.
Sure.
And yeah, I have to say it was pretty cool experience to like have my article, like reading the sort of meeting minutes going up to when, as it was being related, they were like, so there's an article in the Provincetown Independent that did that. Like, that was a cool experience. I'm not gonna lie, that was interesting.
It's totally just another example of why local journalism is so important.
Well, we certainly like to think so.
Yeah. I am sorry to say that I asked how many times you'd been on the show, and you said 3 times, and that it would be your last. I'm so bummed.
Yeah, I leave Provincetown I leave Wellfleet on Thursday, and it's crazy. I've been here for almost 2 years now, and it's been really fun. And I've loved getting to know everybody out here. Like, it's such a special place. There's not, as I'm sure you all are well aware, there's not a place in the world like the Outer Cape. I'm a huge nature guy, and like, the natural world out here is amazing. The people are amazing. Everything is so awesome.
I also imagine it's going to be tough to find another job where you're working on a project like the Provincetown Independent that is as fulfilling and rewarding and fun.
It's a special thing. I'm really lucky. My plan right now, I have a fellowship with this publication called The Open Notebook, which is a publication about science journalism. So it's like writing about science journalism for other science journalists.
Oh, cool.
It's like something like that. It's really fun. So they'll do like, you know, I'm sort of like writing features and stuff like that. So one feature that the last year's group wrote that I really like is like doing science reporting in war zones. Like what's that like? And then also just the technical stuff of like, you know, for people who are brand new, how do you sort of, what's the best way to receive feedback from an editor? Just like the basic stuff as well as the really nitty gritty stuff. I'm working on a story right now about reporting on insular communities. And, you know, coming out here, there are definitely interesting stories that are happening to people that are not necessarily keen to talk to the press all the time. Like I have had tons of great experience with the fishing community out here, but I know that a lot of fishermen do not like the media, and I kind of get it. Like there's been a lot of pretty negative press of fishermen. And so developing trust with groups that are not, you know, have had bad experience with media in the past is tough. And I want to talk to other people about how you do that. And the reason I'm moving to DC is because my girlfriend, who I've been long distance with for almost 2 years now, lives in DC. So I'm looking forward to living with her.
Yeah.
That's going to be really fun.
Well, we're happy for you.
Yeah, and we're happy to have had you for the time that we did.
And once you're a part of this community, you're always part of this community.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, anytime I'm going to come back,
She's got an extra bed.
I'm just like, it's not huge, but I'm taking my dog. But yeah, like really appreciate, you know, journalists like you.
It's been so fun being here. I'm gonna miss the Outer Cape dearly, and yeah, I encourage you all to support the Independent, and I hope that, you know, I'm sure there'll be many more great science stories after I leave.
Oh yeah. Head over to Provincetown Independent, the provincetownindependent.com. Click on the local journalism project. You can donate there to keep the incredible programs through the Province Independent going.
Yeah, and we can find you in the open. Is it Open Notebook?
The Open Notebook, yeah.
Open Notebook. Is that on socials and stuff?
Yeah,
too?
that's on social media.
Word.
Open Notebook, okay.
I look
And then
forward
we're
to
gonna follow
watching.
you there because again, once a part of us, always a part of us.
Just a few more things before we head out. It is the beginning of the season, and we have partnered up with Test and Treat just to remind everyone that now is a really great time to go get tested before the season gets going after a long winter. Also, I don't know if y'all heard, but last night I launched a podcast called The Queer Times with our good friend Kristen Becker. So it's me and Kristen, just Gavin. Check it out. It is our first episode is up now on all Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere where you listen to podcasts. And like I said earlier, please check out The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe down at Harwich Children's Theater, starring our very own Sam Sewell. I think we did it. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. Can I give a shout out?
Yeah.
Yesterday was International Right Whale Day. And
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah.
If you've never seen a right whale before, they're a bunch for the last like 3 weeks. They've been hanging out at Herring Cove, and if they're not there, they're always at the Race Point Lighthouse.
Word.
So if you go out there especially on a clear day, there's a bunch of right whales. Some sei whales have joined them, which are even rarer. So
I've never heard of those.
Yeah, they're great.
Cool.
If you've never seen a right whale before, now's a good time to see one.
Awesome. Yeah. A big thank you to Priscilla for stepping out in front of the camera. You did great. We'll have you back soon.
Gosh, it was a lot. Thank you for your kindness and welcoming. This,
and if you see her running around on the street or at the bar at the Red Inn, be sure to say hi.
yeah, I'm usually the one that's clapping.
A big thank you to our sponsors, the Crown and Anchor, the Provincetown Brewing Company, the Boat Slip, the Provincetown Inn, the Provincetown Business Guild, PTV, and also P-Town Tourism. And thanks for waking up in Provincetown, wherever you are. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Can I have some coffee? Wake up, wake up. Make it strong, please. Hey. Oh. Hey. Wake up, wake up. Oh. No, really, can I have some coffee? Wake up, wake up.